backing music was used illegally.
That ExP was remarkable, unremarkable. He made the album to lift himself up and pull him out of the quagmire. Ain't we all, man? Ain't we all, brother?
I went on a stag do to London the other year.
Very special guest, ExP from Flame Griller, the West Yorkshire rap crew. He's a top bloke. Buy everything he does.
The WYcast is made possible by people going on the XP homepage, www.exp.uk, and buying my albums on vinyl and CD and getting merch as well. So big thanks to everyone who has, and if you enjoy these podcasts, please consider helping out by going and buying some.
Welcome to Series 3 of the WYcast. I had to rap one. Don't look at me like that. I'm XP, producer and I rap. Leads the wires where I hung up my hi-hat. And I did decide that the scene needs a push. There's so many dope artists who don't speak enough. My wife got me a Zoom H2. Cheers, love. So I roam West Yorkshire where the scenery's lush and talk to those involved in the hip-hop scene and what made them turn to rap when they were pissed off teens. Is it just to help them let off steam, or are they trying to live off it, graft endlessly and get some green? Either way, it's sick to be making music in dub Y and reconnect the community with good vibes. Armed with a Zoom recorder, GoPro plus mics, I set up outside and meet people like 2KoolTony, a stalwart of the Halifax Hebden Bridge area, whose name has been I'm familiar with for as long as I've been rapping, really. He was DJing back in the day at Bread Bins, and his work with the record label Heavy Crate is like internationally renowned. Yeah, it's a really good chat, this one. He welcomed me through at Hebden Bridge, and we sat up in his garden. I was trying to push for somewhere else in Hebden Bridge, but when I went, I was like, your garden's absolutely spot on for it. And we were joined by his dog Millie, which was gorgeous. I did a bit of fetch with her, so that was nice. Offered me a beer. Man, life's good. And honestly, yeah, if you're familiar with Sesame Street or the Muppets, and the way we're dangling our legs looks like they're not a part of us, it's we're having a lovely time. Yeah, so big up. It's a great chat. 2KoolTony.
Good. How you doing? You all right?
I'm all right, man. How the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Good. Thank you very much for letting me come through to Hebden Bridge, to your beautiful house and garden and your beautiful dog.
Welcome to
join us as well. Yeah, man. 2KoolTony, you are a name that I have not been able to escape from since 2000 and whenever I started rapping. You were always on the bill. You were always big in hip hop, and a lot of people who I knew you, but I don't think we ever really got a chance to proper chat or anything. So it's an honour.
I definitely came across you before at gigs. I mean, when I used to play at Bread Bins in Bradford, I see you at a couple
of them. That's it. We used to be on the same bill a couple of times, or I'd be spitting on the same thing that you were DJing.
Yeah, I mean, like there was like an open mic thing a few times, and you'd be on there.
Yeah.
I think a couple of times in Huddersfield, I saw like I said, the Flame Gorilla thing you were doing there.
Yeah. Man,
can't remember what the gig was, but yeah, I've definitely seen you around at a few gigs over the years.
It's hard when you were in West Yorkshire around that sort of time doing hip hop. It was inevitable. You'd like,
yeah, of course, yeah. It's a pretty small crowd, isn't it? It's
of course,
man. You're gonna see the same faces.
I think you're a bit older than me. What's your birthday? What's your birth year?
I knew you were going to ask me this.
Yeah, what's your birth year? You can give me a rough estimate.
Because I was just watching that one with Mr. Ed this morning.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Same year actually.
Oh yeah, 21st
of 9th, 79.
79, right? Okay, so you got like 6 years on me, which makes sense because you were like well established by the time I was like, oh, I'm going to rap on the mic. So how did you? Have you always been a Halifax, Hebden Bridge based lad? Where did you start?
I moved here from London in. Well, I was born in Manchester, but raised in London.
Yep.
Moved here in like sort of back end of '92, and sort of went to school up here and like around sort of '93 is when sort of stuff was popping off, getting into like sort of Cypress Hill dropped the album and stuff like that, Black Sunday, and then just sort of, I mean, in London I was listening to more like just like dancehall and stuff. We were just getting.
Whereabouts in London were you?
I was in Sydenham Hill near Crystal Palace.
Okay.
And, we just like get mixtapes off our mates' older brothers and stuff like that, just like jungle tapes and just hardcore mixtapes.
Yeah.
But when I came up here, it was a bit different. Do you know what I mean?
And you sort of Cypress Hill sort of got you into it a bit, did they?
I just remember like one of the first albums that really came up was Black Sunday, and I remember like
classic
going to Bradley's Records, big up Pete Monsoon from Bradley's Records. I think he's going to be on the cast at some point, isn't he?
Is it? I hope so, yeah. Get to everyone.
Yeah, I bought the album from there, and like it was, like I said, in London I was getting stuff on tape all the time from people and just wasn't really going and buying music.
Yep.
And then up here, like it was a bit more of everyone hung around in small little groups, small community, so like we'd all get our pocket money and go to a record shop and buy some bits.
And is that Hebden or Halifax?
Well, that was in Halifax, sort of buying the CDs and stuff like that, like when Black Sunday came out and stuff like that, and when 36 Chambers dropped, I bought that from there.
Sick.
And then all the solo albums, that came from the Wu-Tang thing, I bought all them from there as well.
So you just kind of knew you were well into your hip hop at that age.
Yeah,
or
I was kind of
straight
into it. But we were kind of like, because obviously we're closer to Manchester, really. So a lot of the places we were going to buy stuff from was like Fat City. Do you know Fat City?
I do know Fat City. Yeah,
I mean, like half
amazing.
my record collections from Fat City. All my influences are from there, like Chubby Grooves, Cool DJ Rico, like all the guys from Fat City. I used to go there every Saturday in my pocket money, even if it was like 15 quid, and just go and get a scratch record. And there was quite a big sort of scene for people scratching in Hebden. It was like pretty much everyone back then had a pair of decks. And regardless if it was people playing house or techno or what have you.
So you got into that. You sort of started off as a DJ, like from collecting the records.
Well,
I just started,
like, when I moved there, I got into it for when these albums were dropping. I wasn't DJing then because I was like fucking 13, 14. And I think I got my decks when I was like 16, I think. And we just, like I said, be back and forth to Manchester all the time buying records. Occasionally I go to Leeds and Halifax, but. It was predominantly going to Fat City and getting all the new stuff. Always buying 2 copies of what have you, and just always buying scratch records. There was a big thing for that in Hebden. Every house party you went to, there was always people just cutting and just there was a big scene for that. There's a lot of good scratch DJs around here. Well, there was back in the day.
Yeah, really. So and when you were getting the scratch records, and then did you teach yourself to scratch? So obviously we had the Mr. Ed episode where he was just sat home
to be honest, no, we were all just like, it was everyone just sort of getting cane in the same houses, like just literally the same beat record just looping, everyone just taking it in turns to have a cut. There's there's a lot of people down here who are really talented. One of my friends, Rick Morley, was like top sort of DMC level scratch DJ.
Sick.
There was a load of people around here and we just sort of fed off each other, and obviously we'd go and like buy sort of DMC videos, or just same as Mr. Ed as well, just she wants you for the stick.
There you
go. We'd go and like buy DMC videos, and obviously there's no internet and shit, so you just like be staring at DJs, just watching what they're doing, copying it, buying 2 copies of stuff, and it wasn't, well, it was hard to emulate, but it's easy to learn from, do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. So when did 2KoolTony exist? When did you give yourself a DJ name, and when did you start playing out?
I used to at the time my name was Tony Allen.
Yeah.
And there's a famous Afrobeat drummer called Tony Allen, and I did a gig at the Mill in Bradford.
I do very well.
I would just build as Tony Allen, and that was my DJ name at the time.
Yeah.
And someone came up to me, and was like, I was playing, and someone said, do you know when's Tony Allen playing? And I was like, oh, fucking sick. And I think it was some birds. I was like, it's me. Thinking like my mates had set me up or something.
Shit.
And they're like, oh, right.
Oh.
You don't look like him. And so then I just sort of needed a name, and I really didn't want to take myself too seriously. I hate people, DJ Dynamite or DJ fucking, Atom, but I just didn't want to think of it. So I wanted something stupid.
Yep.
And me and my mates were kind of, smoking like green and being weird, and just thought 2KoolTony was a funny one.
2KoolTony is such a sick name. And
it just kind of stuck.
It really did, yeah. What age was that, do you reckon, when were you playing out?
It was like 18. I think my first gigs were actually in Bradford at the Beehive, where we did bread bins.
Sick.
But, it was a night called Bug Out, which was some guys from Hebden.
Yeah.
And it was more sort of like soul, funk, breaks, and then bits of hip hop. A lot of like mega Manchester influence, like AIM and that sort of stuff, like big beat kind of stuff.
Yeah. I suppose we talk around this sort of time where we mentioned before we started the podcast about Marcus Jack's podcast. He was bigging up Halifax and stuff, but he was kind of a bit uncertain about Halifax's origins in terms of hip hop. And you actually, so when that podcast came out, you actually hollered me and were like, big up Marcus, but there was there was some stuff to mention in Halifax. So when you were like coming through the 97 and stuff, there must have been all
that. So basically, how it was like, so in Hebden, I was skating a lot of the time.
Yep.
And we were linking up with a lot of skaters from Halifax.
Yep.
And the Skirk Hardcore crew. And so obviously, us lot in Hebden, we kind of took ourselves a bit seriously. We were like, we were just bumping like Mobb Deep, Manish, Group Home, like thugged out stuff. We took ourselves, pretty seriously, huge pants, fucking the rest of it. And we were skating with all these guys from Halifax, just 42 Blues and a lot of the people like that.
Yeah.
And they'd come to Hebden because we had quite a few spots back in the day, so they'd come down here. And Halifax was a bit shady back then. Like if you go and skate Halifax, you'd be getting robbed and fucking,
really.
Yeah, it was. There was like bagheads everywhere, and it was a bit of a nightmare. And in Hebden, like people down here are kind of stuck in a bubble. We just kind of stay down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, them lot used to come down here, and I remember one night they were like, "Oh, we're having a party, in Halifax." And like I said, us lot didn't really go to Halifax so much, but it feels like, "Oh, fuck it, them lot are doing a jam. We'll go there. I'll bring some records." And 42 Blues was playing.
Yeah.
And we knew him through skating, but we didn't really,
Yeah, I've always associated. Sorry to stop you. I always associated you with 42 Blues.
Yeah, he's my best mate. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's a dude, is it? I don't even know who 42 Blues is. I did think it. I thought it was a crew.
No, it's a guy. He's a producer.
Ah,
He's a
okay,
producer.
right.
And, we were like, I've known him for, God knows.
Ever.
Yeah, since I was like 18, 17, 18. Well, around that time.
Yeah.
And so we were all being a bit too cool for school down here, no pun intended. And like, so they had this jam on in Halifax at my friend's house, my friend Gav's house, and this was like 2000. And us lot all turned up there with our Mecca jeans on and fucking too much of us again.
She hasn't dropped it yet. Gotta drop it, mate.
Leave it. And we all turned up at Gav's house, and 42 Blues was playing. And like I said, us lot we played the super cool stuff.
Yeah.
And we got there, and 42 Blues was playing. He was playing like Jay-Z, Big Pimpin', and like Ludacris, and like just loads of stuff.
Bit more mainstreamy.
Yeah, stuff that we definitely don't fuck with down here. Do you know what I mean? And we were all looking at each other like, "What the fuck is this?" And they had like a keg of like White Lightning, like an actual keg of it.
Yeah.
Like like the 8% stuff or 15% stuff, whatever.
Okay.
And they were all like doing keg stands on it and shit. And we were just like looking, "What the fuck is this?" And then that ended up to be the first Def Cutz.
Oh, okay. I have heard the name of that. Right.
Yeah, it was kind of like Def Cutz has been going. I mean, we just did one a few months ago, so it's been going like
sick
24 years now. And that was like, it was mainly like it was hip hop at the start, drum and bass in the middle, and then like sort of hip hop bangers afterwards. Like again, the Jay-Z shit and that. Like those guys in Halifax, they get down with some weird stuff. They get down with a lot of like, just like bouncy fucking stuff that we didn't play down here. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. Not even hip hop wise.
Just jiggy stuff. Yeah, just jiggy stuff. I mean,
yeah.
like. No one down here listens to any kind of Jay-Z or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? In Halifax, it's a staple.
Right,
You know what I mean?
okay.
They love it there, like,
Yeah. So that was your kind of first dealings with 42 Blues and such.
Mm-hmm.
What was there? I'm still trying to get there. I want a little bit of Halifax history and what hip hop heads and what rappers and producers did we miss out of the Marcus Jack podcast that you came across back in those days who were doing the
I
thing?
don't know, to be fair, like producer-wise and rappers-wise, there wasn't really that much. I mean, like, at Def Cutz, we'd have people like Spider Lee come over.
Yeah, legend.
Score,
Scorsese?
Luke, what's his name from Huddersfield? He's in a group called The Scriptures from Huddersfield.
Oh, I know The Scriptures. I don't know the dude, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was more. We didn't really need guests because the thing at Def Cutz, it was like everyone went there. Like everyone, it was like a family thing.
Where did you hang it?
It was a bar up in the middle of Halifax. It was like this little sort of back street bar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like you could. Yeah, it's a back street.
And most recently, where did you have? Where was the most recent Def Cutz?
We did one at the Golden Lion before Christmas, and then the last one we did was down at the Wavy Steps, my friend Ben's bar.
And where it started out, the Def Cutz was like hip hop, and then went to drum and bass, and then a bit more of the thing.
It was always hip hop and drum and bass.
Yeah, and then what is it still? Was the most recent one? Did you run
the same? Yeah, I mean, literally, we're playing the same tunes.
Sick.
Everyone's playing the same bangers.
Nice. And is it just? Did you have DJs, or was it all the most recent one?
There'd be some MCs and stuff every now and then. Do you remember Shinobi D?
I do. Yes.
Shinobi D was like a resident there.
Right.
And do you remember Damager?
Yes.
Yeah, Damager was an MC.
These are like drum and bass guys, isn't it?
Yeah,
Shinobi D was like.
That's what I'm saying. It was me and 42 Blues and a few other guys playing at the beginning. Then it'd be drum and bass from like 9 till 12.
Legend.
And then it'd be just bangers and nonsense at the end of it.
I swear, I was friends with Shinobi D for a bit, but
he used to go all the time.
He's a really nice
Big
dude.
up, Brian.
Legend, but it's I've lived so long that I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a distant memory just from like traveling in different circles, because I never really got down with drum and bass. Because one thing about bread bins back in the day, it was like hip hop, and then it'd get to like midnight 1, and then it'd be time for the time for drum and bass, and that'd be the time we'd fuck off usually, because unless you wanted to jump on the mic and do that kind of double time.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge drum and bass fan. Do you know what I mean? It was, I was there for the hip hop bit. Do you know what I mean?
Fair, nice.
If it wasn't for the bangers being played at the end, then I probably would have bounced.
Right.
I mean, I like my drum and bass for like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah. So, so after Def Cutz and stuff like that, 2KoolTony as a DJ, you didn't limit yourself to just playing around here. What talk me through like the journey? Because I know you. Well, basically, I know you went to America, innit?
Yeah,
I'm really interested in that like final journey.
So around around 2007. Me and J Lily had a record shop in Hebden Bridge. Millie, do you want to fucking move?
She's killing. Man, this
Leave
is
it.
good content.
Leave it.
This is
Leave
pure
it.
content.
Fucking dog. Move.
She wouldn't even say hi to it at the start. Now she's chilling.
Yeah, around sort of 2007, me and J Lily had a record shop, and
Heavy crates?
yeah,
Or was that-
it was HCA. It was the start of Heavy Crates. Yeah. And we had it was in the MySpace days, and you got your top 8 on MySpace, your top 8 friends, and so we had our top 8 friends, and we had like a little top 10 of the things we'd sold that week or new imports we'd got in or whatever we were selling.
Yeah.
We were doing pretty well to get American stuff like that was pretty rare and just what have you.
Yep.
And there was 2 people that were number 1 and 2 on our list for quite a long time. One of them was called AC the PD, who ran a radio show called hiphopphilosophy.com out of LA.
Yeah.
Really, really cool station. And the second one was a guy called Clutchy Hopkins. Have you heard of him before?
Bro, are you joking?
That's
Clutchy
my boy,
Hopkins.
yeah.
You know Clutchy
I used to
Hopkins?
stay with him, yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's my boy, yeah.
You still chat to him, yeah?
All the time, yeah.
Fucking
Watching
hell.
today.
If
Big
you're
up-
watching this,
big
Clutchy
up,
Hopkins,
T-Dog.
you are fucking sick.
He's definitely going to be watching this
302
from his little caravan.
302 by Clutchy Hopkins is one of my walk-on songs. So like the track I'll play before I play a gig, the one with the flute. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Clutchy Hopkins, you are a fucking legend, bro.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Amazing.
I've got some signed wax from him. In fact, I've probably got a CD I can give you from him.
Oh, bro. Wow, I'm just going to stand over that moment right quick. That's cool. So you were chatting to those guys back in 07, right?
Yeah, so we were talking to them, and it's all about AC the PD, to be honest. He said, send us over a mixtape. I made a tape, which was my first proper mixtape, really. Sent that over to him, and it was a guy, if you're ever in LA, you can come and play on the station or whatever.
Yeah.
And about 6 months after that, my granddad passed away, and I've got just a few grand, and I just didn't want to just stay in Hebden and just
Fritter it away.
rinse
or
it, yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And I just had this off, and I just thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go to LA.
Sick.
And I literally just fucking got the plane there, got to LA, and it was like proper South Central. Like it wasn't in a fucking studio. It wasn't like I had no idea what it was really.
Word.
I just thought, oh, boom, it's a radio station, whatever. And yeah, like I got dropped off there like fucking 1 a.m. It was like shutters over everything. Like fuck it was just super hood. And yeah, I started playing with him on the station. Him and a guy called Lionel Splifkin, one of our best mates.
Right.
Yeah, basically just like, it was like a 24-hour radio station, so we just sit in this record shop. It was literally just in a record shop and graffiti shop, and we just sit there just playing tunes, playing exclusives, talking shit, just
Sick.
doing whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, then sort of, I'd go there back and forth. I'd be there for like 2 months, come back, go back for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then sort of after a while, I was going from there to Australia, like doing little DJ gigs out there. And
Mental.
But when I was doing the stuff in LA, that's when I met people like Bazooka Joe and King Caesar and all my New York guys.
Yeah.
Kind of through being on the station, because sometimes, like obviously, when we went to bed or whatever, we'd pass the station over to someone else in New York, and they'd do 8 hours or whatever.
Right.
So I kind of met Bazooka Joe and King Caesar through that kind of thing. And then yeah, I was back in England a few times, and obviously me and 42 Blues were living in London at the time for a while.
Nice.
And I'd always be collecting beats off anyone that I knew, anyone from West Yorkshire. Like I kind of thought that my part of the West Yorkshire hip hop thing was production.
Yeah.
I'm not massively into UK hip hop.
Yeah.
I prefer it to be UK. I don't mind UK production or UK cuts or whatever.
Yeah.
Post production, anything like that. But I think I just prefer the heavy crate stuff to be, done in New York.
I get you.
So I'd be collecting beats from 42 Blues, Figure 42, any of my homies, Hashfinger,
Yeah.
King PP, anyone like that, my mate from Austria, collecting beats. So every time I went back to New York, we'd be sat in the studio, like getting twisted, and I'd be going through tunes, not even thinking about trying to put wax out, but just trying to do some, just have something to do basically.
Yeah.
And this one time I was sat in the studio with King Caesar from, do you know Monster Island Czars?
I don't. Sorry for my lack of knowledge.
He's like, King Caesar was producing for MF Doom back in the day.
Okay, right.
He's like, yeah.
KMD days or
Yeah. And he produced his first track, long
Right.
story.
Madness. You were just chilling with all them guys doing this radio show.
Well, I met them through being online in LA, and King Caesar was like, oh, if you're ever in New York one time, you give me a shot. Same as what NAC did.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, fucking hell, right, got an invite to New York, right. And I said to Splifkin, we were sat in LA doing this radio, and I was like, should we just get a flight to New York? And it's not, when you're in LA, it's not that much to go to New York. So we just dipped over there and just got stuck in. We were like the first night we were hanging out with all Monster Island Czars, Kamakarus, Dark Mind, King Caesar, loads of guys, Johnny Cement.
Yeah, and they were really welcoming to you, even though
Yeah,
you were
it was sick. Yeah,
British
because
lad.
they knew we were. I was there with my LA mate, so he had to translate for me quite a lot.
I bet.
It was my first time. It was my first time in New York, and there was a lot of time they were looking at
mate.
each other. Yeah, every time I said anything, they'd be sort of looking at each other like, and he'd like break it down. He's like, "Yo, what you saying, man?" He's saying like he loved your first album or ever. Or just,
Sick.
But so we sit in the studio, and I'd try running through a few beats, just thinking, I hope they bite on something.
Yeah.
And I remember just the one that was like 3 a.m. We were going for a beat, and one of these 42 blues beats that I brought over, King Caesar was like, oh yeah, this is great, this is fucking sick. So we ended up recording a track over it on like a 2.5 minute track, I think.
Yeah.
And that ended up being the first 7, but not for a while. I came back from New York. I had that track recorded.
Yeah.
I was like, oh look, I've been in New York. I've actually got a track.
Got 7, yeah.
But we didn't even talk about putting on a record. I was just like, oh look, it's a track.
Yeah, you've done it.
We've
Yeah,
done a track.
Yeah.
And so that I came back here, played it out, put it on mixtapes or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just never came to my mind to put it on wax. And then like a year later, I was out in Australia doing some gigs out there, and I was in a record shop, great record shop, Wax Museum in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I was just digging through the crates, and some guy came in and was like, has some cards, and he was like, oh, I'm doing small runs of records if anyone who's got any tracks that, to the guy who was serving.
Right.
And I was just going from there. I was like, oh yeah, I've got that track.
Yeah, here's an opportunity.
Yeah, so I got the guy's card, went back home, and went back home to Melbourne, and spoke to 42 Blues, got a few more beats sent over.
Yeah. So, here we go. So a lad from Hebden Way goes to New York, records this tune, and then ends up getting it pressed by a guy in Australia.
Well, no, that's it. We didn't actually go get it pressed by him. I was just sort of that's what.
It kind of inspired you to. I see, because short run.
I got the B-side done, but then my time had run out in Australia, and I came back. And,
how many units did you do with it? How many did you do in the end?
300.
Did they all go? Yeah.
But it was, they all went. But it was all white. We hand screened the front.
Yeah.
It was all handwritten by Fez One on the back.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like a proper independent release. We had like little prints in there and stuff, and it was. I'm super proud of it. It was definitely, and that just kind of got the ball rolling. Like after that, we just pulled a bit of money in. I mean, we just literally went. 3 of us went thirds on it. It wasn't very much.
Yeah.
Then after that, we just like, all right, it's probably time to do another one. Like I said, I was back and forth to New York all the time.
Yeah.
I just come back here for 2 months or whatever. And
Good radio connections, surely, as well. If you needed people to play the track,
Yeah,
surely
totally,
you
yeah.
did all right with that, I bet.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. But yeah, we just sort of. So I think the follow-up one after that was. I think after that I did an EP called Saran Wrap. I think that was the next one.
Was that a 2KoolTony release, or was that a
No, it was a Heavy Crates release.
Heavy Crates release? Right.
I just sort of pick. So people send me like 10 beats. Say 5 producers will send me 10 beats each.
Yep.
I'll pick out like my favourite 3.
Yep.
I'll go to New York and play them to those guys.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of the time it's kind of dead in the water. They're just like, oh,
Yeah,
not really feeling it. But
I've seen rappers tear through
Yeah,
like 200
course,
beats
yeah.
in a day. Just like nope. Yeah, fair enough. Like a producer looking for a snare.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, so that was Saran Wrap. That was an EP. So as I said, I've been going back and forth to New York, and my friend Lionel Splifkin, the guy from LA who was playing on the radio station with me,
Yep.
his 2 little brothers were like super up on independent stuff, and that's like my thing. I like independent stuff.
Yep.
And so they'd always be putting me on to like either old 90s indies or new indie guys or whatever online or what have you.
Yeah.
And his brother Daniel, rest in peace, Big D, Heavy D, sent me a link to Mitchell Ames. I don't know if you've seen my Mitchell Ames stuff. He's a guy from Brooklyn, New York. He's Brooklyn's best kept secret.
Nice.
Yeah, so he sort of sent me this YouTube video, watched the video of Mitchell, and then just happened to get him on Instagram or Facebook or something. I was like, oh, I come back. I'm in England. I come back and forth to New York. I've worked with King Caesar of Monster Island Czars, got a studio if you want to come and do something or whatever. I can't quite remember how it happened. But anyway, I went to Brooklyn, met him, ended up staying out in Cypress Hills Projects with him and his boys,
Wow.
and took him to the studio. And again, I had beats from King P. Pete in Austria, big up Pizzle. And yeah, we just laid like 3 tracks down with him and some of his mates, Banger K. And yeah, then so that was 3 tracks we knocked out that night, I think.
Crazy.
And then Bazooka Joe chucked in a couple of tracks, and I just sort of accumulated like 9 tracks for the EP.
And it was a Heavy Crates release, and it was all that funded. What about the studio time and stuff like that? Was all funded through Heavy Crates and stuff?
Yeah, it was all just me. Yeah.
You were sorting all that.
Yeah. It was all just me.
So you were kind of like moguling. You were running the show and doing all the hard organisational work, right, to bring things together, right?
Yeah, I was just kind of doing a jigsaw, really. I was just kind of putting bits together, and I guess really. I mean, I was just kind of executive producing it, I guess.
Yeah. So were there? Because I don't know too much about like the Heavy Crates releases. Were there many beyond that, and is it still going?
Yeah, there was loads since then. I mean, so that was, I think Saran Wrap was like 2014. Then after that, we did a 7-inch with a guy called June Classic from Queens. Again, like a sort of slept-on guy, kind of independent. Big up June. That was produced by Bazooka Joe on the A side and 42 Blues on the B side.
Nice.
And then after that, I was working with, do you know Burgundy Blood?
I do know Burgundy Blood, but I know Dave does my videos. Kill Money, does all my videos, and he's made a beat or two for me as well. So it's really nice. And I've met Burgundy as well. I did a little short video with him.
Okay, cool.
That I acted in.
Yeah, so I was doing. So obviously I'm working quite closely with Bazooka Joe, and Bazooka Joe is quite tight with Sadat X.
Ah, nice.
And so I was back in England, trying to work on stuff. Working on a project with Burgundy, and got the Sadat X verse. Did one track there, got King Caesars to do the B-side for it, so released a 12 Elephant's Breath. And then it just kept going, I was comfortable with just keep releasing stuff, so we started working on an album. Got a few of my friends on some features. Cool Keith was on it.
Yeah, I've heard about you. Cool. Yeah, you got Cool Keith involved. Amazing.
Big up, big man.
You still your mates, boys with him, yeah?
Yeah, he comes to Hebden all the time.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick, man.
Yeah, Keith was on it. King Caesar was on it. Lunacy was on it.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Did you sort that link up, or was that through? Because
the Lunacy one was through Dave.
Yeah, he was
pretty sure,
doing his videos, so probably.
I mean, like I said, like UK stuff isn't really my thing.
Yeah.
So, but we were trying to come up with ideas for the album, and like the album was like, it was so impressive. We did a feature-long video for it.
Yeah.
Really, for fuck's sake.
How did you get involved? How did you get involved with them Burgundy lads then? Did they holler you?
I mean, to be honest, the very first release on, Chop Towing Records?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's like one of the best independent labels out there. Big up Chubby. The first release on that was Rod Hotley, which was actually Burgundy.
Oh, and, right.
That was like a Hebden anthem. It was. I've still got it.
Is he from round here, or why was he?
No, he's from Manchester. He's from Manchester, but it was just
big in Hebden.
It's like I said, we had a close link to Manchester. We weren't going to Leeds for records and stuff. We were in Manchester, and the scene in Manchester was so good. We go to nights like Friends and Family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're just hearing slammers. And yeah, so I always knew him from that. And then when I heard the Burgundy Blood stuff, when they did that first EP, as soon as they'd done that, I was just like, oh shit, this guy's back doing it, man. Because like I said, I do like American stuff more than UK
because he's quite
stuff.
British. He's got quite a British accent with him.
He lends his accent kind of
I know what you're saying.
Way.
And
I just always loved his stuff in the first place.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was, it doesn't sound like he's from Manchester.
Those guys already had they seem to like not do a lot of the bullshit work that artists have to do to get known, and seem to get known pretty quick.
Yeah, completely,
through the hard work of like probably people like yourself in the back. But they were a big name before anything. And people come up to me like, oh, you're the Burgundy Blood, and like got their records and stuff like that. So
I mean, obviously they've been through a few different groups. There was a group they did with cool DJ Rico called the Idiots. Have you heard that stuff?
I haven't. No.
That's old school Manchester stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked on the album with them, and it was quite a long time. And then, long story short, they ended up going with a different label, and we ended up doing a remix album, kind of, and we pressed that. So their album was called Burgundy. Ours was called Suede Crates.
Right.
And theirs was called Suede Comet.
Nice.
It ended up coming out on Chopped Herring.
Oh, okay, sick. Really on a sick label as well. Nice.
And then after that, that was the only UK thing I did.
Right.
And then after that, it was back to New York, working again with Mitchell Ames and Spit Gems. You know Spit Gems?
Don't.
Definitely look him up.
Shit. Okay.
Working with them too. Did a 12. But again with UK beats. Do you know George Fields?
Don't, man. I'm sorry you're saying all these names. I don't know fuck all, do I?
He's from. I'm not quite sure where he's from, to be honest. Sorry, George. Millie, you really fucking...
Mate, she's killing it. If you're happy with her being in the shot, this is going to look so dope, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, so George Fields did one, and King Caesar did one with Spit Gems with a single called Respect Fire.
Yeah.
And then after that, we did a 12 with, Conway.
I do, yeah, as in,
Conway the Machine,
yeah.
So the last 12 we did was with Conway. That was produced by King Caesar again.
Oh,
and
nice.
George Fields did a remix, and Figure 42 did a remix as well.
How long ago was that release then?
Oh, man.
So
I want to
still going
say,
back a
like, I don't know, like 7 years ago.
7 years,
maybe.
okay. And
Maybe something like
would you
that.
consider that, like, it dried up a bit, or have you got intentions for, like, future releases?
It didn't dry up, I just had a kid.
Oh, is it? Yeah, and priorities kind of shifted a bit.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, that was my main thing, just chucking money into records. I didn't mind if they weren't selling. I was so hyped up just doing that.
God bless you, man. Jesus.
And it just wasn't, just as long as I was active in the scene doing that kind of thing, I was quite happy. But once I had my daughter, I couldn't really to press a record's like, 3 or 4 grand or
Word,
whatever.
yeah, familiar.
And it's just, but I'm still working on stuff. We're still doing loads of tracks, but people aren't really buying wax like they were either.
Not as much, yeah. But limited edition stuff's always good, and especially if you've got bigger names that have got good reputation, like the people you've been mentioning.
I have been working on a project.
Jesus.
Can't really talk too much about it. I'm not sure if you know about
Exclusive.
Oh, I can't really go into it.
Okay, that's fair enough, understandable. Well, yeah, all that stuff must be tricky, man, trying to get all that above board and stuff. Heavy Crates, then, you also had a record store with that, right? Here in Hebden, was it?
I've had a few, yeah. I've had about 3 shops down here.
Go on, what shops have you had? Are they all been Heavy Crates and then you moved?
Well, before Heavy Crates, I had a few skateboard shops down here, but I've had like 3 record shops over the last sort of 7 years.
Nice.
But Hebden's kind of changed down here now, so it's kind of not the market for selling records.
Fair enough. So, because when did you shut the doors of the last?
The last
Heavy
one
Crates?
was like about 2 years ago, I think, closed down.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Then do you miss it, or is it like what it is?
I kind of do, yeah. But the thing is, in Hebden, you only get trade through the summer.
Yeah.
You sell loads of records through the summer, and then in winter you're just sort of scratching your head, just like, oh, right. But you're still paying like Hebden rates.
Of course, yeah,
It's,
super pricey. So are you still back and forth to New York and that, or are you, because you've got your daughter now, not able to bounce out
I haven't
as
been
much?
back to New York for a while. I've potentially got a warrant out there. But,
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
What have you got?
It's not that. It's not that intense. It sounds more
Parking.
It sounds more thugged out than it is. No, I got nicked sleeping on a train, but I was lying on two chairs, and
You bastard!
and some undercover pigs fucking
Fuck's
dressed
sake.
up as hobos pulled me off this train and fucking slammed me up.
For having your feet up on a.
No, I was lying on 2 chairs. It was like a new charge they just brought out called being outstretched.
Jesus Christ! Fair
And
enough.
long story short, I couldn't be there for my court date, and then I left the country. And the next time I went in the country, I had to go out of state and then get a train into New York.
So it wasn't like.
And I was kind of
super
thinking that
plain.
I blagged it. I was bragging about it, and they were like, "No, if you get pulled here, then you can go straight."
Fuck's sake!
Anyway,
So
yeah.
you might struggle when you're out there. Like,
Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm not trying to go back to New York anytime soon.
Is it not? No, you're not. What were you not?
I mean,
to see
I'd
boys
love
and
to.
that?
I mean, I love it out there. Yeah.
Yeah. What about LA? You've still got that connection, or?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot easier for me in LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, the last time I was there was just LA. Actually, yeah. It was just playing like a disco sort of night out there.
Sick. That's cool. And did you put some? You've put some events on in Hebden, right? And
Yeah, loads. Yeah.
And when, are you still putting stuff on in
I
Hebden?
mean,
or?
we've had Cool Keith here. We've had
Sick.
Ultramagnetic MCs. We've had loads of people here. I'm still doing bits and bats, but they're more just DJ nights, really. They're more just like do bits at Golden Lion. Had a Lunacy on at the Golden Lion a few years ago.
How did that go? Decent.
People were queuing out the door like way before soundcheck. It was like
Fuck.
it was the first time I ever got to a gig, and like people just hipsters just queued right out the door.
Hipsters.
Yeah, just man bags everywhere and all backwards hats.
Not to throw aspersions. The guy's
up
got a good
Lunacy.
name. Yeah, big up, man. Yeah. He's going to get on the podcast eventually, but I have to drag him
Yeah,
out.
you'll be lucky. Jake's a G, man. Big up Luna.
He is a legend. He's a legend. Yeah,
He's a good guy.
Good, good dude. Another good dude, Hashfinger, who you've done a lot of workings with.
Of course,
over the years,
yeah.
so like a
Me
big
and Des are
producer
very
with him.
close. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. How did you get to know him in the first instance? Was it just like taking
I
his
think
beats
it
and
was
stuff back
it
in
was
the
when
day?
we did the Lunaverse on the Burgundy Blood thing. Him and Diz came down. And they were kind of pretty young, to be honest. It was about like 9-10 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both came out to Hebden, went for some beers, and came back to my house, just pissed around a bit. And then me and Diz just got on. We went digging a few of my spots.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got a few of his beats on some bits and pieces.
Sick. Have you had much dealing with? Because it's interesting you're saying you're not into like UK hip hop that much, and the vibe of it. Because obviously, like
that's kind of the elephant in the room. Really,
that is the elephant in the room. Because it's like this is the WY podcast, and it's like I'm all about.
I mean, like, you know, don't get it twisted. Like all the people from like West Yorkshire, like, you know, Score, Spider Lee, like everyone from around here that does stuff, I always support it.
Yeah.
I always bump it. I just wouldn't put it on a mixtape, or I wouldn't play it out or whatever. You know,
just because of the sound of
like
it.
People like Lost Props. There's a lot of people around here that I rate, but I just, you know, for me, like, I like the vocals a bit from not New York, just American, really.
The pure, that sound, yeah. Well, that happens a lot with an American audience, I think, when you're trying to peddle your UK hip hop wares out there.
I mean, the thing is, if you're trying to push West Yorkshire rap, you've got to bear in mind that only people in West Yorkshire or around here are going to want to hear it. You know,
Potentially.
I mean, no one in Chicago wants to hear us talking about tea and stuff and the rest of it. I mean, I think like, whereas like, I think our spot on it, well, from my point of view, I wasn't on about your tea.
No. Yeah, I'm insulted.
I actually like that lyric about
big
tea.
up.
We don't pronounce tea, but we drink it.
Yeah. We drink tea, we don't pronounce it. Yes, probably that's a Spider Lee joke.
But yeah, I just feel like, you know, I mean, like, all the beats and stuff and the cuts and that have no face, you know what I mean? It has no, you know, it's the same with reggae. You know, someone from Halifax could produce a really banging dub track,
but it's not.
But you need.
It's not pure.
Well, no, it is, but you need someone with roots to rhyme on it. Do you know what I mean? You need like.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of. To keep it authentic, you kind of like, we can do whatever we want. We can pick samples and fucking hell, me and 42 Blues have been through loads of rare breaks and found, you know, super cool stuff. The same like, you know, the P Brothers.
Yeah.
People like that, you know, that's kind of our job. And I kind of copied them a little bit, to be honest, with their stuff. Like, taking good production from here, good cuts and good whatever else. Millie Move. And just, you know, that's what they did. They went to the Bronx and got really Smiley Ghetto Child on their tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just kind of stood out to me. It's like, well, for me, that's kind of my role in it. I want to take the music there and then use their voices because...
How do you feel about, because I get that boom bap thing, so like, if I'm a West Yorkshire artist doing kind of more boom bappy, hip hoppy stuff over those kind of beats and trying to shift that, as you say, to Chicago or LA or whatever, and they're like, nah, I want to hear this thing. Doesn't sound right to me without the vocal. But then on the flip side, grime, which kind of did come out of this country, is being adopted over there, and they're almost faking English accents.
Totally.
What do you reckon about that? What's your feelings on that?
The thing is, I mean, grime is kind of what we came up with, so it was our thing in the first place. Yeah. So of course they're gonna. You know, it's a British thing.
Yeah.
Whereas hip hop, we've essentially taken, you know, their.
Yeah, we've adopted it. I mean, at the point, it's not an East Coast accent. Even West Coast adopting it. Hip hop is.
I mean, it's sort of like, say, if you look at people like, you know, M.R. Of course you do. That'll get some clicks. Clickbait, M.R. Put that in the fucking title.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you can have some. You can produce that stuff, but you need someone Jamaican to do that stuff properly. I mean, I actually rate M.R. I think that stuff's funny.
It's certainly viral as fuck, isn't it?
Of course. But I mean, I just think, you know, you should kind of keep it authentic. You know what I mean? And not that he's not doing. I don't mean.
I do watch stuff like that and go, "This is a fucking." No, I think it's a good point because I do watch stuff like that and go, "This is fake bullshit." But then I'm a white rapper going, "Oh, you know, adopting a culture in a very similar way." And I mean, even M.R's got more claim to the reggae roots stuff, I think, due to his background and stuff.
He goes to Jamaica and stuff,
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of, truth be told, you said it's like a personal preference more than anything in it. It's like, it's not that you've got anything about, You know what I mean?
Like a lot of the jams in Huddersfield that I go to or whatever, like I love seeing my homies on the stage rapping, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just doesn't mean that I want to put it on my track or want to put it on a mix or whatever. I'm down to support it. And,
of course. Yeah.
And, you know, buy the CDs or whatever.
What do you think about what do you think about the West Yorkshire scene then? Because like obviously you must have known. Well, you were. There's been different revivals, but there was a time obviously in the Bread Bins era where we were all down Bradford, spitting on beats that you guys were playing or whatever, and then there was the kind of resurgence again where the WY Cypher was going on and we were all freestyling around my studio. And then I'm sort of, me and hundreds of other people are trying to like bring it back again, you know what I mean? And like bring that unification back. Like, are we barking up the wrong tree really? Trying to create like a hip hop centric place in this area?
I mean, there's a few things about that. I mean, one for me that's like, one thing that's fucked up loads of my hip hop gigs is writers.
Yeah?
I mean,
you mean graph writers?
Yeah, if you put on a night I mean, like stuff like the Trades Club down here or whatever. If you put on a night that's specifically hip hop,
someone will tag the
toilet.
toilet.
In the book. Of course you are. Yeah, I just think. I mean,
Graffers are graffers, man.
putting on hip hop. I mean, I'm not. You know, putting on hip hop things is a nightmare.
100%.
Yeah.
When it goes well though, and it's well supported, there's nothing sicker.
Totally,
there's no better vibe than a good hip hop night, and there has been good hip hop nights in.
I mean, for me,
recent.
I'd again go down the sort of Manchester route. I'd have like a bit of a soul vibe, like maybe some female singer on first, or, a little like.
There's not enough diversity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't just go in with like everyone's little crew from down the road who've written some dead bars and jump on stage with like no.
It's not going to shake the world, is it?
I mean, I've been to so many fucking dead gigs where, like, open mic things where people are just like, you've been to loads of them. You know what time
Bro,
it is.
I know what you're on about. Yeah. I'm trying not to discourage it because I think everyone should have an opportunity. And also with an open mic, there's an open
I don't mean
forum
to sound so negative.
No, be negative, bro. I'm all right with that.
And obviously, I'm a bit older as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like,
yeah, you said it. And
like, if you've like say Spider Lee, you put an album out.
Yeah.
And you go and perform those tracks from the album with your ad-libs playing and whatever, like with your DJ, that sounds sick.
Would.
Whereas if you're just like you and your homie are fucking smoking reefers and you want to go and fucking
look down at the floor while you sort of can't recount your
or
bars.
look at your phone or whatever.
Oh,
you know
Jesus
what I mean?
Christ,
I've got time for that shit. I'd much rather have a gig where there's like, some soulful shit, reggae, whatever. Yeah, just like all the gigs I play at, all my homies are sort of warming up playing different kind of stuff, bits of reggae, bits of whatever.
Bit like,
before you start playing hip hop stuff.
So like We Out Here festival seems like a nice amalgamation of like things that fit under that hip hop banner of like trip hop and a bit of jazz and a bit of everything. And if you can kind of bring it, and it was my intention to do more podcasts as well, where I am not just talking to. I want to talk to Nightmares on Wax. You know what I mean? It's like guys trip hop as well as hip hop, and it's like it's that kind of
if genre.
You want
to Clutchy Hopkins on if you want.
Yeah,
yeah.
I want Clutchy. Well, he's not Dub. Why is he?
No, I'm joking,
but still, it'd be good to meet him one day, maybe. But it's still. I think it's important for WY to have to adopt not just that purist hip hop or even just that trap shit that's going on right now, or that. Or grime
I really appreciate that there is a scene around here. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a part of it. Like if someone's doing a gig, like I'm coming tonight.
Yeah, come through. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I support everyone that's putting stuff out. And like if I'll share people's posts or what have you. I mean, I'm just saying from a Heavy Crate's point of view, it's more of a purist thing, and I like it to be. I mean, all the guys rapping on my records are like over 40, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, that's it. The old school. The people
Mitchell, Mitchell's not over 40. But
the people who are doing like the sickest shit are like, I mean, LL Cool J just put a fucking album out. Do you know what I mean? We're at that level, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
But yeah, I mean, fair dues. I don't know what I just feel like there's a lot of people. So here's an example, and I always say this: Loyal Kana is just doing some jazz hip hop, and he sounds decent. He's got a decent voice, and it's kind of soulful, but it's hip hop at the end of the day.
Right, yeah.
He's got tens of thousands of fans. He's selling out, stadiums. He's doing better than Lunacy or anyone. Loyal Kana, massive. Well, exactly. Okay, but he's kind of jazzy hip hop,
right?
With a UK accent, London, and he's massive, and there's listenership for it.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, there's a piece of cake that WY artists could be getting to, and people who really like their music and they need putting together. And I think it's awareness, and it's harder than it's ever been to like get your music to that.
I feel like a lot of people who are like putting out projects in WY like maybe not putting all the work in. Like if you look at Luna proper puts the fucking work in. All the
he doesn't. Everyone puts it in around him. He just puts the work in on the lyrics and the recording.
No, I mean like with him and Hashfinger. Like if you look at that, have you seen that Pink Lagoon project? Was it Pink Lagoon?
Yeah. Dizzler works his arse
If you look
off
at the
on
wax on that and like everything, it just looks like all the ad libs, a bit of a theme and stuff. Like I feel like there's too many people just ready to bang it on SoundCloud. Like, boom, we've done this. Like no mastering, just boom, here you go.
It's just not the same.
Here's a little rap track.
It's harder work, and
I sound like a total rap snob.
No.
I am a rap snob.
It's right because if you don't do the taking or the time like Luna and Hashfinger have, you are just putting it on the pile. You're asking people to pre-save on Spotify, and that's the best level.
And that's why Luna's doing so well.
Definitely got the physical product as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, but there are opportunities out there that people need to know. What I talk to a lot of people who are about to put their album out or whatever, and they're like, well, I'm not putting it on vinyl. I can't afford that. And it's like, you shouldn't have to worry too much about that.
Yeah.
You should be able to go, well, I can do 200 copies because I'll sell them. But
it's not that expensive, is it, really?
No, not if you're going to shift them, it isn't. You actually make a bit of coin.
And if you've got some, heart behind it, then I mean, like,
Yeah.
There's something about having a physical copy of something, do you know what I mean? Especially being on wax, it's a timeless thing. And that's what I always wanted to know. I always wanted to know that, when I'm fucking dead and buried, you're gonna go in some shitty record shop in Japan and find fucking
your
a
shit.
heavy crate 12.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? For like £3.
Word, man, that would be fucking cool. So with you and heavy crates, is it a day to day for you? You still got your head in all that, and you're still chatting to people about music all the time.
No, 100%. So when I was out with Mitchell and those guys in New York, obviously I met a lot of the guys out there.
Yeah.
And one of his guys was in jail in New York.
Okay.
And got. Long story short,
have his feet up on the subway.
Why I keep fucking banging about? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he got caught being outstretched. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, one of the Cypress Hills guys is out here right now. He lives in Darlington.
Get out the fucking.
Yeah.
What?
He's been here for a long time now.
Sick.
And I've been doing a lot of stuff with him. He's called Be Easy, like B-E-Z.
Okay. What? He's down with Cypress Hill and that is like.
No. Cypress Hill's project.
From
is
LA.
in Brooklyn.
LA.
No, it's in Brooklyn. That's
Brooklyn.
So Mitchell Ames and those guys. Cypress Hills is a project like an estate.
Right. Oh, okay.
So that's where I'll be staying, and so that's where this guy's from as well.
Yeah.
So Mitchell said to me like, "Oh, my homeboy's over there now. You need to hold him down." So I was just like, at the time when he first hit me up, I was just like, I was going through some shit. I can't remember what was going on, baby. I can't remember what was going on, but I was like, couldn't be asked to listen to these demos. And then one day I was just like hungover or something. I was like, oh, I better play these things Mitchell sent me. And I played them. I was like 30 seconds in, I was like, fucking hell, that's fucking wow. I played the next one. I was like, fuck, right. Hit the guy straight up, and he came to Hebden, and we've done a bunch of tracks. I mean, none of them got pressed or anything like that. We just kind of sat on them, and the classic, you just make loads of tracks and just leave them sat somewhere.
Yeah.
But him and a good friend of mine called Isaac Apollo, they've put an EP out. It's not an unwax or anything, but they've done some bits. It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's not pop, but it's like he's a hardcore rapper, like
Okay.
It's gun rap what he does. So he's a battle rapper, but he's like he's thugged out, like very thugged out.
Yeah, but they're doing pop shit, kind of more pop.
Not so much pop. I mean, Isaac Apollo's his dad's called Simon Ellis. He produced all. Big up Simon. He produced all the Spice Girls stuff, E17, S Club 7, all that stuff. So I'm good friends with him. Isaac's his son, so we're all linked together.
Yep.
In fact, we record at Simon's studio in Hebden.
Oh right, nice.
But yeah, I mean, all that stuff kind of just, we haven't done anything with it. And like I said, I'm not trying to put a record out right now.
No?
And if I do it, it's that thing that we talked about that I'm
of
not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, that you're not meant to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But as far as it goes, yeah, I mean, I'm mainly just pushing the merch and stuff, really. I'm just, I'm doing...
Heavy crates, teas and that.
Yeah, I'm just doing ones of merch and just like doing pop-ups and shit around Hebden and wherever I can, really.
Yeah.
I've got one this Sunday. This won't go out Sunday.
This will be out in October, possibly.
Well, if you came to the one on Sunday at the Fox and Goose and bought a T-shirt, big yourself up.
Yeah, and that's just you rocking up with a fuckload of records, like
yeah, just a little tiny shitty roll of T-shirts.
Sick guy. Well, 2KoolTony, I'm pretty much exhausted with the questions I was going to ask you. It's been a fucking experience, man.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining me,
nice
man.
One.
Big the
Safe,
fuck up.
please.
Take it easy, man. Big up.
Safe. Nice one. Peace.
That was 2KoolTony, and is that my first ever hug? That was a really friendly hug at the end. Bless him. I haven't had a cuddle from anyone yet. Step your game up, guys. Big up 2KoolTony. Amazing stories. Really good to get through and chill. And massive apologies because he came through to the night that me and Diz were meant to be DJing out that night, and it was dead. We're literally just playing tunes to ourselves. But I don't have a following in Hebden Bridge, so fuck you. Right, until the next one, big up!